Why do we always want exactly what we are forbidden to have? The answer to this question hides in the oldest story of humanity, and it explains 90% of the mistakes you make every single day. In the beginning, there was a garden. Adam and Eve lived in perfect harmony. They had beauty, abundance, and total freedom. They could eat from any tree, walk anywhere, fear nothing. Only one rule existed. Do not touch the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. That single prohibition was not a cage. It was a test. It gave them the possibility of choice. But choice itself became the trap. Eve walked past that tree every day. Its fruit glistened. She knew she must not touch it, and that was exactly why she could not stop looking at it. Then the serpent came. He did not say, "Eat it." He asked a simple question. Did God really say you must not eat from any tree? It was a distortion. God had allowed them everything except one. But the serpent planted a seed of doubt. He made their freedom feel smaller than it was. Eve answered, "We may eat from all trees except this one." The serpent smiled. "You will not die. You will be like gods." His words touched the deepest string in her, the desire to be autonomous. The prohibition suddenly looked like chains. Breaking it looked like freedom. At that exact moment, a mechanism psychologists today call psychological reactance took control of her. When a person feels their freedom is threatened, they do not think. They rebel. Eve reached for the fruit not because she was hungry, but because she wanted to prove, "I can. I am free." She ate. She gave it to Adam. He joined her, not out of hunger, but out of silent protest. He did not want to appear weak. Their eyes opened. Shame, fear, the loss of everything. What they thought was the path to freedom became the beginning of slavery, to pain, to fear, to death. God asked why they hid. Adam said, "I was afraid." The first crack in a world without fear appeared, not because of the fruit, but because of the protest against the rule. This is not an ancient myth. This is your life, repeating every single day. A parent says, "Don't touch." The child touches. A doctor says, "Don't smoke." The patient lights a cigarette to prove they decide for themselves. A boss says, "You must." The employee refuses even when it destroys their career. We do not act because it is useful. We act because it is forbidden. Why does this happen? Because freedom is the foundation of who we are. When we feel it threatened, we rush to restore it. But we do it blindly. Eve did not count the hundreds of other trees she could eat from. She saw only one, "Don't," and reacted. Adam did not choose truth. He chose protest. And so do we. Here is the trap. Protest against restriction often makes us less free. Adam and Eve wanted more freedom. They received exile. A smoker who rebels against his doctor gains addiction. An employee who ignores rules despite the boss loses their job. Reactance creates the illusion of freedom, but in reality, it controls us. Say don't, and we will do it. That is not choice. That is a reflex. True freedom is not doing the opposite of what you are told. True freedom is the ability to pause and ask, is this really a restriction or is it protection? Is my desire to break the rule a conscious choice or just a reaction to the word don't? Eve could have said, I have hundreds of other fruits. Adam could have said, I choose to trust. But they chose protest, and they lost everything. Prohibition makes the forbiddens attractive, but blind protest leads to loss. True autonomy is not reflexive resistance. It is a conscious choice that brings benefit. I invite you to listen to this story and share your thoughts. Have similar situations ever happened in your life? Write in the comments. Your experience may be valuable for others.